Stealing something valuable from a fellow human is a temptation that people haven't been able to withstand since the dawn of time. Of course, it's not the best of choices, considering that the majority of criminals who do that end up caught or dead. Nevertheless, some thieves have been able to create the perfect plan and escape judgment with a sum that exceeds the budget of an awesome Hollywood blockbuster. We present you with the top 10 most major crimes in history. The list opens with a classic theft. On March 24, 1972, a group of 7 people broke into a branch of the United California Bank in California and took all the safe's contents. The raid went perfectly, but after a couple of months, the band decided on yet another theft in a bank in Ohio, where they were all arrested. Taking into account that bank policy doesn't allow for divulging information about safe's contents, only an approximate figure of the stolen sum could be made. According to rumors, it was in this bank that President Richard Nixon's dirty money was kept, and the thieves scooped up $30 million, which was a record sum at the time. 9th place. The British Bank of the Middle East, Beirut. In the 1970s, there was a raging civil war in Lebanon, and their neighbors decided to take advantage of the chaos. On January 20, 1976, criminals broke into the bank, blowing through the wall of a Catholic church that was adjacent to it. The thieves turned out to be members of the Palestine Liberation Organization, Yasser Arafat. They seized currency, valuables, and gold with a general value of around £25 million sterling that today would be equal to £100 million sterling. Later, part of what was stolen was sold back to its owners. To be fair, in this case, the thieves didn't act for personal gain. Such impressive spoils helped finance the activity of the Palestine organization in the 70s and 80s. 8th place. This story behind this robbery is similar to the plot of a film. The mastermind behind this crime was Valerio Vici, an Italian criminal who was hunted by the police in his homeland for committing over 50 armed robberies. Vici fled to England, where he decided to continue taking part in his favorite business. On July 12, 1987, together with an accomplice, he entered a building belonging to the security firm Knightsbridge Security Warehouse in London and asked to rent one of their safes. The unsuspecting staff led them to the vault, where Vici took out a pistol and pointed it at the guards. The robbers then hung a sign on the door saying the warehouse was temporarily closed and let in their remaining accomplices via the back door. The band broke open the safes and took out nearly £60 million sterling, that today would amount to the unbelievable sum of £174 million or 220 million US dollars. After calmly packing up the cash, the robbers vacated the building. A call to the police came only an hour later, when the criminals had already taken flight to various locations. Vici flew off to Latin America, but his accomplices weren't so lucky. They were found by the police, one after another. After several years, Vici unexpectedly returned to England to pick up his Ferrari, which had stayed in a car park all that time. The same day he was arrested, the court sentenced the robber to 22 years in prison, and soon he was deported to Italy, where the crook committed his next brazen act. In 2000, when he was on day release, Vici got tied up in a shootout with the police and was killed. 7th place goes to the city of love, Paris. On December 5, 2008, in the center of one of the most popular cities in the world, 3 men walked around in wigs and women's dresses. However, no one paid attention to the strangers, and they calmly went up to the shop windows of a jewelry store, Harry Winston, whose staff happened to put up a sign reading "Closed" on the door. The men took out their weapons and burst into the shop, frightening those people inside. The robbers cleaned out the window display and then made the staff open up the safe in the back of the shop, taking all their earnings. The jewelry store was robbed without a single shot being fired. The criminal spoils were worth nearly $113 million. The next day, when all the French media was talking about the robbery, shares in the Harry Winston Company fell by 9%. In addition to all that, in 2019, the shop was robbed a second time. The robbers carried out valuables with the value of 10 million euros, but were caught. In total, the police arrested 25 people mixed up in the robbery. 6th place. The Antwerp World Diamond Center. This Belgian city is considered the center of the diamond trade. Up to 80% of these valuable stones pass through Antwerp, and criminals were well informed of this. The city has quite a rich history of robberies, but one of these episodes really sticks out, both for the amount stolen and for the non-standard methods the criminals used. The leader of the criminal group was Leonardo Notarbartolo, a 30-year-old professional thief. He gathered a team of 4 people who planned the operation in detail for 18 months. First, they rented an office space in the same building where the safe was located. Notarbartolo played an Italian diamond trader. He made meetings and small deals to lay to rest any unwanted attention. At the same time, the criminals studied the object of their raid and the security system. The safe was protected by 10 levels of safety, including infrared heat detectors, radar, magnetic fields, and a locking system with millions of possible combinations. On February 16th, the criminals broke into surveillance rooms, where they set up false recordings to be transmitted. Thanks to their training and information they had received, they tricked the safety system and quickly broke open the safe. The number of safe deposit boxes was so large that the thieves just couldn't take everything with them and opened a meager 123 of the 189 safety deposit boxes. The criminals took possession of valuables that came to a sum of nearly $110 million. The organizer of the heist of the century should have remained free, but his accomplice threw away incriminating evidence instead of burning it. Amidst the usual rubbish was a check from a cafe. A day before the robbery, Notarbartolo dropped in there to have a bite to eat and was caught on video surveillance. After that, the police quickly found the entire group. Notarbartolo was arrested. He received 10 years in prison, but what was stolen was never actually found. The criminal himself claimed that a certain European diamond trader had hired him, and many safety deposit boxes were already empty, so he'd only made off with diamonds worth a total of $20 million. Notarbartolo was sure that his group had been hired to commit a major insurance fraud, although the police denied such a possibility. After almost 2 years, the heist of the century gave up its position. 5th place unravels in Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, which was witness to the biggest diamond robbery in history. The approximate figure is $120 million, but since many precious stones still hadn't been cut, calculating their value is difficult, and that means the figure could be higher still. While the majority of thefts presupposed diligent planning by the second and flawless work from all of its participants, in the given case, everything went down pretty simply. 2 weeks before the robbery, 4 people stole a truck belonging to the Dutch airline KLM and also acquired the corresponding uniform. On February 25, 2005, they peacefully passed through the airport's safety zones without evoking the guards' suspicions. The robbers headed straight for an identical KLM truck, where they found a safe with raw diamonds. In plain view of the personnel, they made the real workers get out of the vehicle, took their place, and drove off. Since the robbers were so sure of which vehicle to go up to, the police suspected that they couldn't have gotten by without inside help. What's more, 6 months before the heist, an identical crime had taken place in the airport terminal. They arrested several people from a large line of suspects, but their guilt was never actually proven. 4th place, Baghdad Bank, Iraq. On July 12, 2007, bank workers arrived to work and were gobsmacked. The doors to the vault turned out to be open, the safe broken wide open, and the money gone. In the night, the 3 guards had run off with all the safe's contents, and that was $282 million US. To this day, we don't know why such a mind-blowing sum was kept in the bank. It's believed that the criminals couldn't have managed to disappear without the help of police and soldiers, who let them through checkpoints. The press didn't focus on the robbery all that much. Nobody was held responsible, and not a single dollar was found. 3rd place. In Boston, on March 18, 1990, the biggest artwork robbery took place. 2 police officers arrived to Gardner Museum and told security that they had arrived because of a call. Breaking security rules, the inexperienced guards let them inside and immediately regretted it. The police officers put handcuffs on them and locked them in the basement. Then, in the space of a couple of hours, the robbers leisurely took out 12 pieces of art, among which turned out to be the works of Rembrandt, Manet, Degas, and Vermeer, as well as an ancient Chinese vase. The total value of the goods was about $300 million. Finally, the criminals deleted recordings from the surveillance room and safely made their escape. FBI workers took up the hunt for them. Over many years, they worked on many theories, ranging from sheiks and agents of the Vatican to drug lords and the mafia. However, not a picture nor a robber has ever been uncovered. In 1994, the museum received an anonymous offer for the return of the pictures in exchange for $2.6 million and guaranteed protection from the law. Despite the agreement, no one ever made contact. One thing's clear, the criminals weren't experts on fine art, since they didn't take the much more valuable works. The silver medal in our hit parade goes to the mugging of John Goddard, who was a courier for an office burglar in London. On May 2, 1990, he was walking down a quiet alleyway when a criminal threw himself at Goddard. Threatening him with a knife, the robber took the 58-year-old man's briefcase, where he found treasury bonds worth a total of £292 million sterling, or $384 million. Though in truth, he could only cash them in via the black market, and soon the police successfully busted all those attached to this ham-fisted crime. First place goes to the robbery at the Dresden State Art Collections. On the morning of November 25, 2019, a group of robbers set fire to a transformer, switching off the guard's signal. Then another team broke open the building's iron railings and made their way into the Green Vault building, where the jewelry was stored, including the pieces belonging to emperors. The robbers probably knew what they were going in for. In just a few minutes, they'd packed a good sum into their sacks and drove off in a car which was later set on fire. The value of the stolen valuables exceeded €1 billion, but in terms of their historical significance, these things were priceless. In 2021, several suspects were arrested, but the jewelry had vanished. Authorities proposed that they cut them into small pieces and sold them off bit by bit. If this is true, then the world has been deprived of unique works of art that once belonged to kings. Perhaps this list is incomplete, and you know other cases where the robbers managed to get away with an even greater amount. Tell us your stories about great crimes in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Click the bell so you don't miss when our new videos come out.